Welcome to my channel. This is Yellow Flicker. You are now watching the static website tutorial. In this video, we will use JavaScript to add some extra functionality to our website. Let's begin. To insert JavaScript into our HTML web page, there are two methods. We can either directly write the code inside the same file, or we can link an external JavaScript file. We usually put JavaScript at the very bottom of the web page, right before the body section ends. We use the script tag to specify a JavaScript. I've created a home.js file, which has some simple JavaScript code. To link it to our HTML document, we can specify the source and put home.js inside. This way, the JavaScript will be included in this HTML file. I'll explain the logic in home.js later in this video. Let us go to the contact.html file, which is the contact form here. I'm going to directly insert JavaScript logic in this file. By the way, it is a good practice to specify the type of the script. Text JavaScript. The very first thing we need to learn about JavaScript is to use console.log. Console.log will print messages to the console tab of the web browser. We can open it by using F12 if you're using Google Chrome. Let's try to write console.log test. And we can see a test has been printed to the console. Another message display feature is called alert. When using alert, a pop-up dialog will be shown, like this. Next, let's try to refer HTML elements. We have a lot of HTML elements defined, and we can access them directly in JavaScript. Let's try to refer to the big title. I'm going to give it an ID of big title. To refer to this particular element, we use constant big title equals document dot get element by ID. This is a function, and we put the ID of that element as the argument. Let's write big title here. So now we have created a reference to this h1 title. We can then access the different properties of this title. Let's try to alert the text of this title. We can do that by specifying big title dot inner text. When we save it, the pop-up dialog should show contact us, like this. Besides inner text, we can get the HTML content. But in this case, it is still the same. In addition to the value, we can even modify the styles of this particular element. Let's try to do that. We can set big title dot style dot background color to purple, and we have successfully modified the CSS style for this element. Let me disable this effect by commenting out this line. To insert comments, we use /. Next, what I like to do is to render the prefix and the full name. So I'm going to create a simple paragraph about the form, and I'm going to give it an ID of name render. Let's refer to this particular ID. So I'm using constant name render equals to documents dot get element by ID. This time it will be name render. Let me clarify. This name need not to be the same as the class. It can be different. It's just a variable name used in JavaScript. What I'm going to do is to define some variables. To define a variable, we use the keyword var. And I'm going to call it prefix with a default value of a blank string. I'm going to define another variable called full name, and again it is equal to a blank string. Next, let's define a function. We use the function keyword followed by the function name. Let's call this render name. Inside this render name function, I want to display these two strings in the name render element. So I'm going to refer to the name render variable and set its inner text to the prefix plus an empty space plus the full name. Let me write a simple data to these two variables. And we need to call this function, of course. And there we go. It will automatically render these two data onto the screen. In addition to writing the content like this, I prefer using the inline string variables. So I'm using this symbol for a string instead of a quote. And I can directly use a $sign followed by a curly bracket prefix. Similarly for the full name. I like to use this convenient way to directly insert variables into the string. Let's set these two variables back to the blank string and remove this render name call. What I'd like to do next is to handle the input events. So let's first define the function, and it is going to be on prefix changed. It takes an event parameter. Then I'm going to link this function to this select element. There are a bunch of on something attributes, and we can handle the different events triggered by this element. Let's choose on input, and I'm going to paste our function name here. Let's insert event in there. And I'm going to do console log event. So now let's open up our console. As we can see, an event is being fired whenever we change the value. Let's create another function called on full name changed. And again, it takes an event parameter. This time I like to log the value of the source element using event.sourceElement.value. Let's attach this function to our full name input element. On input equals on full name changed. Make sure to pass the event argument. So now when we input something, it is going to be printed in the console. So let's continue building our logic. For the full name input, whenever the value changes, I want to update the full name variable. So let's set full name to the source elements value, like this. Let's also call render name. Similarly, for onPrefixChanged, let's set prefix to events.sourceElement.value. Okay, as we type something, it is going to be rendered in this name render element. When we select a prefix, it is not showing the text, but a number instead. That is because the value is being set to 0, 1, 2, 3. We need to map these values back to the text. To do that, I'm going to use a switch case statement. The switch case statement allows us to trigger some actions according to a specific value. I'm going to use the source element's value as the condition and handle the different cases. So at case 0, I'm going to set prefix to Mr. And I use a semicolon to break this line. Make sure to add a break keyword after each case. Case 1, prefix is going to be Mrs. Break. Case 2, the prefix is going to become Miss. And I'm going to add a default case. So if the source value does not fall into any of these cases, it is going to use the default action. Let's set prefix to blank. Break. Now when we select any of these prefixes, it should be shown in this text render. Similarly, if we change the value of the full name, it is going to be rendered beautifully onto the screen. That is how we do event handling. Finally, for this form, I like to redirect the user back to the home page after the submit button has been clicked on. So let's create another handler function called onSubmit. Okay. And I'm going to remove the action and the method for this form. Let's just change it to onSubmit and refer to this method. To redirect the user, we can use window.location.href. Let's use a slash to bring the user back to the home page. And I'm going to insert the event argument as well, because we need to prevent the default behavior of the submit button, so we can use events.prevent default. This line will stop the default behavior of this submit button and execute our logic. Now let's try to fill in some dummy data. When we hit the submit button, we should be redirected back to the home page, like this. Next, I'm going to explain the home.js logic here. First, I am referring to the price roles. I've added a class name price role to all of the table roles here. And I can refer to all of these roles by using the getElementsByClassName function. This will give us a list of elements. Then I'm using a for loop to go through each of the elements within price roles. For each role, I'm finding the TD table cell elements using query selector all. This again will give us a list of child elements. So for each row, I should get 1, 2, and 3 TD table cells. And I like to get the second one, which is this one, and print the inner text of this table cell. So now if we go to the console tab, we should see 4 values being printed. That are the prices. For those who wonder why is it 1 when we refer to the second element, that's because computers always count from 0. So the very first item has an index of 0, and the second item has an index of 1. And that is what this home.js JavaScript file is doing. That is how we work with JavaScript within an HTML web page. Since JavaScript can interact with the HTML elements and the CSS styles, it is extremely powerful. We can even build animations and data handling things using JavaScript. And I recommend you go to W3 School's documentation to view all of the available features. In the next video, we will try to deploy our website. I'm Yellow Flicker, and I will see you in the next episode. Stay tuned.